All right, let's talk about something that feels, well, pretty universal these days: stress at work. It's that feeling we all know, and it's easy to think it's just our problem to deal with. But what if it's bigger than that? What if it's a system wide issue and one we can actually fix? Let's dive in and see.
Yeah, this picture, it hits a little too close to home, right? That feeling of being just completely buried at your desk. It's a look I think a lot of us have had. And this isn't just about having a tough Tuesday. For millions and millions of people, this has become the everyday reality. It's the new normal. And if you want a number to back up that feeling, here it is: 40%. Global research from Gallup found that a staggering 40% of adults are spending a huge chunk of their day just worrying. So this isn't just in our heads. It's a real, measurable, and honestly, a pretty massive phenomenon.
Okay, so let's pull back a bit and look at the big picture. We're about to get into the data behind this feeling, this global emotional fatigue, and really understand just how big of a deal this is. So you see the numbers right there, and they are pretty concerning. 40% of adults worrying, more than a third feeling stressed all the time. But here's the kicker, the really important part. It's not getting better. The trend is going in the wrong direction. Millions more people are feeling this way now compared to just 10 years ago. So yeah, this is a problem that is actively growing. All right, so how does this huge global wellness issue actually start to affect businesses on the ground? This is the point where one person's burnout becomes a real, measurable risk for the entire organization. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. You can see the direct line. On the one side, you have the impact on the individual. You're not thinking as clearly, you can't bounce back from things as easily, you're just plain tired. And then boom, look at what that does to the organization. Performance drops, innovation stalls, and those important relationships at work, they start to suffer. It's a clear cause and effect. So, okay, we've painted a bit of a grim picture, I know. The problem's huge, it's getting bigger, and the consequences are serious. It's easy to just stop there and feel a little hopeless, but that's not what we're going to do. Instead, we have to ask the most important question. If this is the problem, then what's the alternative? And here it is. The alternative isn't just about damage control. It's not about slapping a Band-Aid on stress. It's about actually, intentionally, building a place where people can truly thrive. I mean, just look at the difference between this and that first picture we saw. This is what it's all about. People working together, feeling energized, and actually growing. This is where things get really exciting. The hopeful part of this whole story. We're going to talk about the solution. How do we actually design a better workplace? It's all about tapping into the power of positive experiences. So what is it that people really value at work? Well, the data from Gallup couldn't be clearer. A huge 88% of people say being treated with respect is important. Over half feel good when they've learned something new and interesting. And you know what's really great? These kinds of positive experiences are actually increasing. That tells us there's a clear path forward. And all of this leads to this big idea, the positive organization. Now let's really break this down. This isn't just about managing the bad stuff. It's about proactively building an environment where good things like useful emotions, real trust, and a genuine sense of achievement can actually grow and flourish. It's a totally different way of thinking about the workplace. So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, a positive organization is built on 3 key pillars. First, lots of chances for people to grow, both personally and professionally. Second, what we call psychological safety. That's the feeling that you can speak your mind and be yourself without being punished for it. And third, healthy, strong relationships between people. These are the absolute fundamentals.
But here's the thing. A culture like this doesn't just magically appear. It has to be designed. It needs an architect. And that brings us to a role that's becoming more and more important, the Chief Happiness Officer.
Now, before you think this is just about planning the company picnic, let's be really clear. The Chief Happiness Officer, or CHO, is a deeply strategic role. Their job is to architect the entire corporate ecosystem, to bring together well-being, motivation, and, this is key for the business, actual results.
So how does a CHO actually do all this? Their job really boils down to 3 main things. First, they observe and listen. They're like data scientists for the company's mood, analyzing trends to get ahead of any human risks. Second, they build positive practices. This means designing the very processes that create respect, give people autonomy, and build trust. And third, they help develop emotional skills, supporting teams to get better at communication and managing their emotions.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Well-being must be concretely designed. It's not some fluffy, nice-to-have thing. It's not something that just happens by luck. It has to be built intentionally with a clear method and discipline, just like you'd approach finance or operations.
Which leaves us with one final question to think about. It's a question for every single one of us, no matter our job title. How is your organization right now intentionally designing for well-being? And maybe more importantly, what's one small thing you could do starting tomorrow to help build a healthier, more human place to work?